Reaching for forever, a fan tale from out of cruel space. The vast emptiness of the void was not forgiving, but neither was humanity, born of a world that had taught them to endure, adapt, and innovate. They were more than just survivors, they were pioneers, wanderers who defied the silence between stars. Commander Elena Tressel gazed out the viewing port of Eterna, the flagship of humanity's outer-reach fleet. The endless expanse of space was dotted with glittering stars, each one a destination, a possibility, but their current destination wasn't just another star, it was a promise of sanctuary and something more. "How's the alignment, Lieutenant?" Elena asked, her voice steady yet tinged with the weight of their mission. "Stable, Ma'am," Lieutenant Jared Coate replied, his eyes fixed on the holographic display in front of him. "The Dyson array around Prime Delta is functioning as anticipated. The energy readings are off the charts, enough to sustain a planetary-scale biosphere for centuries." Elena allowed herself a small smile. This was what Eterna's mission had always been about, finding forever. The systems in the out-of-cruel space sector were treacherous, gravitational anomalies, spacefaring predators, and the remnants of long-dead alien empires had made every expedition feel like a gamble. But the Dyson array, that was humanity's jackpot. "We're going to do it," Jared murmured, more to himself than anyone else. "We're going to build a new Earth." "Not just Earth," Elena corrected, "something better, something lasting." The hum of the ship's engines vibrated beneath her feet, a reminder of their fragility in the face of the universe's indifference. Humanity had clawed its way out of its cradle, and now it was reaching for forever, but nothing about this journey was guaranteed. "Ma'am," Jared interrupted her thoughts, his tone shifting to urgency, "I'm detecting movement near the array." Elena stiffened. "What kind of movement?" "Unknown," Jared admitted. "It's not a natural phenomenon, it's structured, definitely artificial." Her heart sank. The Dyson array was ancient, its builders long gone, but not everything in the out-of-cruel space stayed dead. "Bring it up on the main display." The hologram shifted, revealing a fleet of sleek, angular ships emerging from the shadow of the array. They moved with predatory precision, their hulls glinting faintly with an iridescent sheen. Elena recognized the design immediately. "Ixthar." "Sound the alert," she ordered, "all hands to battle stations." The Ixthar had been humanity's shadow ever since their first foray into deep space, a species driven by supremacy. They viewed humans as little more than upstart primitives who had no business leaving their gravity wells. Every encounter with them had been a trial by fire. "Commander," Jared said, his voice low, "they're hailing us." Elena clenched her fists. "Put it through." A flickering image appeared on the comms display, revealing the sharp, insectoid visage of an Ixtharian admiral. Its multifaceted eyes glimmered with disdain as its mandibles clicked in a language their translator barely managed to parse. "Humans," the admiral hissed, "you trespass on what is not yours, leave, or be eradicated." Elena stepped forward, her expression resolute. "This array is abandoned, Admiral. It belongs to no one. Humanity seeks only to coexist, not to conquer." The Ixtharian chittered, a sound that could have been laughter. "Coexistence? You speak of weakness. The strong take what they wish. Your kind is fragile, breakable." Elena felt a surge of anger but forced it down. "Perhaps," she said, her voice calm, "but we are also determined. We've endured things you can't imagine, and we'll endure you too, if necessary." The Ixtharian's mandibles clicked ominously. "Then you leave us no choice." The comms cut, and the Ixtharian ships surged forward. Alarms blared across Eterna as the crew scrambled to their stations. "Shields up," Elena barked, "prepare for evasive maneuvers." The first volley of plasma fire slammed into the ship's shields, lighting up the void in a cascade of energy. Elena gripped the console as Eterna shuddered under the assault. "Return fire," she commanded, "target their lead ship." The ship's railguns roared to life, launching a barrage of projectiles that streaked through the void. One struck the Ixtharian flagship, causing a chain reaction that sent it spinning out of formation. For every moment of triumph, there was a cost. Smaller Ixtharian ships swarmed Eterna, exploiting its blind spots and testing the limits of its defenses. "Commander," Jared called out, "the array, there's something happening." Elena turned to the display. The Dyson array, dormant for millennia, was stirring. Panels along its surface began to shift, aligning themselves with mechanical precision. Energy pulsed through its structure, creating a web of light that rippled across the void. "What's it doing?" Elena asked, her voice hushed. Jared's eyes widened. "It's activating. The array isn't just a power source, it's a weapon." The realization hit Elena like a punch to the gut. The Ixthar weren't just defending the array, they were trying to prevent humanity from accessing its full potential. "Jared," she said, her voice firm, "can we control it?" I don't know," he admitted, "but if we can align our systems with its interface, we might be able to direct its energy." "Do it," Elena ordered, "we're not losing this." As the battle raged around them, Jared worked feverishly, linking Eterna's systems to the array. The ship trembled as the energy coursing through the array began to sync with their own power grid. "Commander," Jared said, his voice triumphant, "we've got it." Elena didn't hesitate. "Target the Ixtharian fleet, fire." A beam of pure, blinding energy erupted from the array, slicing through the Ixtharian ships like a scalpel. In moments, the fleet was reduced to debris, the survivors retreating into the void. The silence that followed was deafening. "Status?" Elena asked. "We're clear," Jared replied, his voice heavy with relief. "The array is stable." Elena exhaled, her shoulders relaxing for the first time in hours. They had done it. Humanity had reached for forever, and won. "Begin settlement preparations," she said. "This is our home now." Reaching for Forever, A Fan Tale from Out of Cruel Space, Chapter 2, First Steps, Lasting Foundations. The silence after the battle lingered like the calm before a storm, but this time, it was a calm they had earned. The shattered remains of the Ixtharian fleet drifted in the void, a grim reminder of the price humanity was willing to pay for its survival. Commander Elena Tressel stood on the observation deck, staring at the Dyson array as it shimmered with latent energy. The remnants of ancient civilizations had never failed to inspire awe, but this was different. It wasn't just a relic, it was a future waiting to be written. "Status report?" she called out, her voice cutting through the quiet hum of the ship's systems. Jared appeared beside her, holding a datapad. His uniform was stained with grease from patching systems during the battle, but his eyes were sharp. "Array is fully operational, Commander. The energy output is steady and sustainable. It could power an entire planetary system, and then some." Elena nodded. "What about the Ixthar? Any signs of reinforcements?" "None yet," Jared replied, though the unease in his tone suggested he didn't fully trust the quiet. "We've deployed long-range scanners just in case. If they're regrouping, we'll know." Elena turned back to the viewport. She didn't need to say what everyone was thinking. The Ixthar didn't back down easily. They'd be back. But right now, there was work to do. 3 days later, the Dyson array wasn't just a weapon, it was a marvel of engineering. Its surface was dotted with thousands of hexagonal modules, each one capable of redirecting vast amounts of energy to power life support systems, terraform planets, or defend against hostile forces. For the first time in years, humanity had a tool that could secure its place among the stars. On board Eterna, the crew worked tirelessly. The fleet's engineers had deployed drones to study and repair the array's systems, while scientists analyzed its design, trying to reverse-engineer its technology. Every piece of data they uncovered felt like opening a door to the impossible. "Elena," a voice crackled over the comms. It was Drive, Shiva Patel, the array's lead researcher. "You're going to want to see this." Elena hurried to the array's surface, where Drive, Patel and her team had set up a temporary command post. The Dyson array loomed above them, its intricate patterns glowing faintly with power. "What's so urgent?" Elena asked, stepping off the shuttle. Patel gestured to a nearby console. "We've been running diagnostics on the array's systems, and we found this." The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a series of alien symbols. They were etched in a fluid, almost organic script, but there was something unnervingly familiar about them. "What are we looking at?" Elena asked. Patel hesitated. "It's a message, or, more accurately, a warning." The room fell silent as the translation algorithm worked. Slowly, the alien script morphed into readable text. "To those who awaken the array, beware, the power you wield is not your own. What was built to create can also destroy. Use it wisely, or you will invite annihilation. Elena frowned. What does that mean? Patel looked grim. The array isn't just a tool, it's a beacon. Every time we activate it, we're broadcasting our presence to anyone, or anything, that might be listening. A chill ran down Elena's spine, including the Ixthar? Patel nodded, and worse. A choice to make. Back on Eterna, the weight of the revelation hung over the crew like a storm cloud. The Dyson array was their greatest hope, but it was also a double-edged sword. The energy it provided could ensure humanity's survival, but it could also paint a target on their backs. We can't turn it off, Jared argued during the briefing. We've already committed. If we deactivate it now, the Ixthar will just sweep in and claim it for themselves. And if we leave it on, we risk drawing every hostile species in the galaxy to our doorstep. Drive, Patel countered. Elena listened to the debate in silence. Both arguments were valid, but the decision ultimately fell on her shoulders. The weight of it was suffocating. Finally, she spoke. We didn't come this far to hide. Humanity has spent too long running, scraping by, surviving. The array is our chance to thrive, to build something lasting. I won't let fear dictate our future. She looked around the room, meeting each pair of eyes. But we won't be reckless. If the array is a beacon, then we'll be ready for whatever answers the call. Double our defenses, deploy the Sentinel drones around the perimeter, and start working on a fallback plan, just in case. The room buzzed with activity as the crew moved to carry out her orders. Elena sat back in her chair, exhaustion threatening to overtake her. They were walking a razor's edge, but she refused to falter. Not now, not ever. Beyond the horizon. As the weeks passed, humanity's foothold around the Dyson array solidified. New settlements were established on nearby planets, powered by the array's energy. The Outer Reach fleet expanded its patrols, keeping a watchful eye on the surrounding space. But the warning etched into the array's systems lingered in Elena's mind. Somewhere out there, in the vast unknown, something was watching, waiting. And humanity was reaching for forever, knowing full well that forever might reach back. Reaching for Forever, a fan tale from Out of Cruel Space, Chapter 3, The First Echoes. It began with a faint distortion on the scanners, so subtle that it almost went unnoticed. The array's massive power output created a haze of energy that could mask smaller anomalies, but Lieutenant Jared Cote had learned to trust his instincts. Something wasn't right. Elena, Jared said, his voice tight as he stared at the data streaming across his console. You need to see this. Commander Elena Tressel appeared on the bridge a few moments later, her expression as sharp as ever. What is it? Jared pointed to the holographic display. We're picking up echoes. Long-range scans are detecting faint energy signatures that match the array's output frequency. It's almost like something's responding. Elena finished for him, her jaw tightening. Jared nodded. I can't confirm what or where, but it's big, and it's getting closer. The bridge fell silent. They had known this was a possibility, ever since they'd activated the array and uncovered its warning, but knowing and facing it were two very different things. Sound the alert, Elena ordered. I want every ship in the fleet ready for action. Deploy long-range probes to track those signatures, and keep the array running at minimal output. Let's not light up the whole neighborhood if we can avoid it. At the edge of the system, the probes sent back data within hours, painting a picture that made Elena's blood run cold. A fleet was approaching, larger than anything humanity had ever faced. Their ships were massive, their designs unfamiliar, alien in every sense of the word. They moved with the precision of predators closing in on their prey. Drive. Shiva Patel joined the bridge, her face pale as she reviewed the incoming data. This isn't Ixthar, she said. The energy signatures are completely different. Whoever they are, they've been drawn here by the array. What do we know about their intentions? Elena asked, though she already suspected the answer. Patel hesitated. They're not broadcasting any hails or messages. Their formation suggests hostility. Elena nodded grimly. So, they're coming to take what we have, or destroy it. Jared chimed in. We're not exactly in a position to outrun them. If they're hostile, our only option is to stand our ground. Elena's mind raced. The Dyson array gave them an edge, but it wasn't invincible, and if the attackers overwhelmed them, they could turn the array's power against humanity. "Prep the fleet for engagement," Elena said, "but we're not firing the first shot. If there's any chance to avoid a fight, we'll take it." The arrival. The alien fleet arrived in system 2 days later, their ships eclipsing the stars as they advanced toward the Dyson array. The size of their vessels was staggering, some were larger than entire cities, their surfaces glowing with strange, pulsating patterns that hinted at technologies far beyond humanity's understanding. Elena stood on the bridge of Eterna, her hands clenched behind her back as she watched the display. "Open a channel, let's see if they'll talk." The comms officer nodded and sent the hail. Moments later, the display flickered, and an alien figure appeared. It was tall and spindly, its body wrapped in what looked like flowing metallic tendrils. Its face was smooth and featureless, save for 2 glowing orbs where eyes might have been. When it spoke, its voice resonated like a choir of whispers. "You have awakened the Sentinel's beacon," it said. "Why?" Elena stepped forward, her voice steady. "We activated the array to ensure our survival. We mean no harm to anyone." The alien tilted its head, the motion almost curious. "Survival? You tamper with power beyond your comprehension, and you speak of survival?" "This array was abandoned," Elena said. "Its creators are gone. We're only using what they left behind." "You are mistaken," the alien replied. "The creators are not gone, they are dormant, and you have stirred them." Elena's heart sank. "Who are you?" "We are the Vaeran," it said, "caretakers of what remains. We have come to preserve the balance." "And what does that mean for us?" Elena asked, though she dreaded the answer. The alien's glowing eyes seemed to intensify. "It means you must leave. The array is not yours to claim." A fragile negotiation. The Vaeran gave humanity an ultimatum: deactivate the array and abandon the system, or face their wrath. For hours, Elena debated with her senior staff, weighing the risks and the possibilities. The array was humanity's lifeline, but without it, their foothold in the outer reach would crumble. "There has to be another way," Jared argued. "We've fought off the Ixthar, survived the void. We can handle this." "Can we?" Drive, Patel countered. "The Vaeran aren't like anything we've encountered before. Their technology makes us look primitive. If they decide to attack, we're finished." Elena listened to the arguments, her mind racing. Finally, she turned to the comms officer. "Open a channel to the Vaeran." The alien reappeared on the display, its expression unreadable. "You have made your decision?" "We can't abandon the array," Elena said, her tone firm, "but we're willing to negotiate. There must be a way to share its power, something that benefits us both." The Vaeran studied her for a long moment, then, it spoke. "You would propose an alliance?" "Yes," Elena said. "We activated the array to survive, not to conquer. If your purpose is to preserve balance, then help us use it responsibly." The alien was silent for what felt like an eternity. Finally, it said, "You will submit to Vaeran oversight. The array's activation will remain under our control. Agree to these terms, and we will spare you." It wasn't a perfect solution, but it was better than war. Elena nodded. "We accept." A new era. The Vaeran established a presence around the array, their ships looming like silent sentinels. True to their word, they allowed humanity to continue using the array, under strict supervision. While the arrangement was uneasy, it marked the beginning of something new, a fragile alliance between 2 vastly different species. For humanity, the future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: they had reached for forever and found it. Now, they just had to prove they were worthy of it. Reaching for Forever, a fan tale from out of cruel space. Chapter 4. The Waking Shadows. Weeks passed under the watchful eyes of the Vaeran, and though tensions between humanity and their new allies simmered, the fragile arrangement held. The Dyson array continued to provide energy, powering humanity's fledgling colonies and reinforcing their ships. Yet, for all the progress made, there was an unease that refused to fade, a growing sense that the array's power came with a price they had yet to understand. A discovery beneath the surface. Drive. Shiva Patel stood at the base of one of the array's massive hexagonal modules, her breath fogging the visor of her environmental suit. The team of scientists around her worked diligently, their tools humming as they extracted data from the alien mechanisms. Despite weeks of study, they had barely scratched the surface of the array's secrets. "Shiva," called one of her assistants, a young engineer named Harvin, "we found something." She hurried over, her boots clanking on the metallic surface of the array. Harvin pointed to a newly revealed panel that had shifted during their scans. Beneath it was a cavity containing something that pulsed faintly with a blue-green light. "What is it?" Shiva asked, her voice filled with a mix of awe and caution. "I'm not sure," Harvin admitted, "but it's organic, or at least partially so, and it's alive." Shiva frowned. Organic technology wasn't unheard of in alien systems, but this was unlike anything she had seen before. She leaned closer, her suit's scanner buzzing softly as it analyzed the object. The results made her stomach drop. "It's a neural interface," she said, "a control node for the array's core systems." Harvin's eyes widened. "Are you saying the array is alive?" Shiva hesitated. "Not alive in the way we understand it, but this confirms something the Varan hinted at. The array isn't just a machine, it's connected to something deeper, something sentient." The warning. The discovery was brought to Commander Tressel immediately. Shiva's report was concise but left no room for misinterpretation. The array's activation had awakened more than just the Varan's attention. Something within the array itself, something ancient and powerful, was stirring. "They called it the Creators," Shiva said during the briefing, "but I don't think the Varan fully understand what it is either. All we know is that this neural interface is linked to the array's primary functions, and it's active. That means whatever's at the core of this structure is aware of us." Elena leaned back in her chair, the weight of the revelation pressing down on her. "Can it be shut down?" "Not without deactivating the entire array," Shiva said, "and even then, there's no guarantee it would. Go back to sleep." Jared, sitting across from her, looked uneasy. "So, we're essentially living on top of a sleeping giant." "Great." "It gets worse," Shiva continued. "The Varan haven't told us everything. I've been analyzing their movements, and it's clear they're not just monitoring us, they're monitoring the array. I think they're afraid of whatever's in there." The first awakening. The warning signs came in the form of subtle changes. The array's energy output began to fluctuate, its once steady hum growing louder, almost like a heartbeat. Strange symbols started appearing on the interface panels, shifting and reconfiguring faster than the translation algorithms could keep up. And then, the dreams began. Elena was the first to experience them. At first, they were fragmented images, flashes of light, shapes that defied comprehension. But as the nights passed, the visions became clearer. She saw a vast, formless entity, its presence radiating both power and malice. It spoke in a language she couldn't understand, yet the meaning was clear. It was watching, waiting. When she shared her experience with the crew, she discovered she wasn't alone. Others had begun dreaming too, their descriptions eerily similar to hers. Whatever was at the heart of the array was reaching out, trying to make contact. The Varan's revelation. The Varan broke their silence when the array's energy surge reached its peak. A delegation of their kind boarded Eterna, their leader, the same figure Elena had spoken to weeks earlier, demanding an immediate meeting. "You have tampered too far," the Varan emissary said, its voice echoing through the briefing room. "The Sentinel stirs. If it wakes fully, none of us will survive." "What is the Sentinel?" Elena asked, her tone firm despite the growing sense of dread. "What are we dealing with?" The emissary's glowing eyes dimmed slightly, a gesture that seemed almost like sorrow. "The Sentinel is not one being, but many, a collective mind, forged to oversee the array and all who wield its power. It was designed to create balance, but its creators underestimated its hunger." "Hunger?" Jared asked. "Hunger for what?" "For control," the emissary said. "The Sentinel devours, it assimilates. To awaken it is to invite annihilation. That is why the array was abandoned." Elena's heart raced. "And you didn't think to tell us this sooner?" The emissary tilted its head. "You would not have listened. Humans are ambitious. You do not heed warnings until it is too late." A desperate plan. The Varan offered a solution, though it was far from ideal. By combining their technology with humanity's, they believed it might be possible to sever the Sentinel's connection to the array. forcing it back into dormancy, but the process would require an immense amount of energy, and there was no guarantee it would work. If we fail, the emissary said, the Sentinel will awaken fully, and it will not stop until it has consumed all who oppose it. Elena's mind raced. Every instinct told her to abandon the array, to cut their losses and run, but where would they go? The array wasn't just a source of power, it was a lifeline. Without it, humanity's colonies would falter, their ships would drift powerless, and their people would starve. We'll do it, she said finally, whatever it takes, we'll make this work. The emissary inclined its head. Then prepare yourselves, Commander, you are about to face the wrath of a god.